What's going on, people? Welcome back to the opposition preview as I'm joined by Locks from Blue Tinted Glasses YouTube channel to look ahead to our first game after the international break against Leicester. Make sure to check out Blue Tinted Glasses. The link will be in the description down below. Head over there where I give my perspective as a Palace fan. But Locks, now it's over to you as a Leicester fan. Thank you for coming on the channel. Let's start off with how you're feeling going into this game. I've watched a few Leicester games this season. I watched the first game of the season at home against Tottenham. A lot of energy, especially in the second half. And then I've watched the Villa game as well. Similar scenario, maybe first half a bit too slow, second half after subs, you got back into it. But as a Leicester fan, how are you feeling to the start of the season?
Well, I mean, the season pre-season, it was like so negative. I mean, we thought we were going to get rolled over like 4-0 by Tottenham, mate, if I'm honest with you. We were so negative. A lot of us were uninspired with the manager choice. We obviously lost Enzo Maresca. We lost Kieran Dewsbury-Hall. We couldn't make many, exciting signings, if you like. We lost every game in pre-season bar one. It was awful, mate. And then, yeah, the Spurs match, we were buzzing because we thought like, these are all right, these players. They're actually, because I think Leicester fans we still have quite a few players from the from when we were in the Premier League last time. And I think the relegation season clouds our judgment sometimes, thinking, oh, these players aren't no good, but they are actually quite good. So yeah, we are winless, which is a shame, but I think, every game has been quite a good performance. The Villa game again was a good performance against a really tough side. So yeah, I'm not sure what to make of this game, mate. I think we're nervous because we don't know kind of what Leicester team will show up, and we don't know how Cooper really will set us up. We've got an idea, but yeah, we're hoping to get a point from it. I think, mate. Yeah, for sure.
Look, Cooper's got some Premier League experience, of course, at Forest. You did say that you didn't have the greatest of pre-seasons, but what's the perception towards him from Leicester? Because he plays a different style of football to Enzo Maresca, who's now at Chelsea. I mean, was you happy with the appointment because of his Premier League experience? Was you worried about maybe the type of football that he plays? How are you lot feeling towards Steve Cooper?
Yeah, no, we're not happy with it. Well, some fans, of course, are. I'm not speaking for every Leicester fan, but the large, I would say the majority weren't happy. Yeah, you're right. He's a different type of manager. He did play quite expansive football in the Championship with Forest, but when they got promoted, he kind of switched up a little bit. This was the propaganda that was being fed to many Leicester fans when we appointed Steve Cooper, that he's pragmatic and he's got plan A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, and whatever. And I get it. I get that. Those types of managers, people like. But for me, so far this season, it's been, negative. People will say rightly so because we came up against three really good teams, but I feel like there was more that could have been done. And I actually think Steve Cooper cost us a couple of points. I think we should have got a point from Fulham. And I think we could have got a point from Villa as well if attacking changes were made a bit sooner. So, there's definitely still a question mark over Cooper. As for his Premier League experience, well, he's got 12 wins in 55 games now in the Premier League, which for me isn't good enough. Even if it is Forest and Leicester that he's managed, that's really not good. He also has an away record of 2 Premier League wins. He averages a Premier League away win once a year. So maybe that's against Palace. Who knows?
Yeah. I mean, we've faced him at Forest, so we kind of know what to expect from a Steve Cooper side. And it's been similar to what I've seen from Leicester as well. He hasn't kind of, changed his approach as much. But for you then, when you're looking at expectation this season, I guess it's all about staying up. But if you don't have confidence in Steve Cooper, do you think you could stay up with this manager or?
Well, a week ago, I would have said we don't have a hope of staying up because of the points deduction. But obviously, we've had the news in the last few days that there is no points deduction. We've gotten off there on a technicality.
What do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, look.
Or
oh yeah, of course, we're lucky. It's one of them things. I disagree with PSR in every way. I think it's wrong. I don't. They dropped the whole FFP thing because it wasn't fair. It's not fair. If you've got a big 6 cartel that can spend what they want, and then every other team has to, scrape money together to be able to, bring players in. This is why you don't see any team consistently fighting or in the top four. I mean, Leicester tried it twice, 2 years. We finished 5th, got relegated. Newcastle got in there a couple of years ago. They were nowhere to be seen the year after. And Villa, I suspect, will not be finishing in the top four this season either, because they can't strengthen the squad enough to compete in Europe and go for top four again. They had to sell Douglas Luiz, for crying out loud. So yeah. In terms of PSR, I disagree with it completely. But on the fact that Leicester getting off it, yeah, I think it's probably a kick in the teeth for many other Premier League clubs that have had to sell players to try and comply. And obviously Leicester failed it and we've still got off. But you can make the argument that, well, Leicester never got a sporting advantage when we breached because we got relegated. So it clearly didn't help us that much. So, yeah.
Yeah. So in terms of staying up then, you did mention that you weren't confident before the ruling. Are you a bit more confident now because you won't have the points deduction despite Steve Cooper being your manager?
I'm more confident if Cooper gets sacked halfway through the season. I know that sounds awful for me to say.
Happening with Cooper.
No. I don't think he's good enough. I honestly don't. I think he will be gone by Christmas. If I'm completely honest. Some Leicester fans will say it's jumping the gun a bit because again, I did just say we had three good performances, but mate, I've been so impressed with the players. Right, the players this season so far, the energy levels, the passion. Just everything. They've all been there. And again, I'll go back to it. The thing that I think has cost us points already this season is Cooper. So yeah, that's my thoughts on that. I think we're good enough to stay up if we had a different manager. I would have preferred Carlos Corberán from West Brom. That was my number one choice. But we went with Cooper, Premier League experience. If you class 12 wins and 55 as experience.
Yeah, it doesn't sound great. I'll be honest. I didn't realize that was a record for Cooper. But you've also signed, 2 players from Palace, one permanent, one on loan. What's your thoughts on Ayew and Odsonne-Edouard joining the football club? How have they been received by Leicester fans?
Yeah, well, I'll start with Ayew because I've seen it. We've seen him. There were some complaints about the fee. It is quite a lot of money. It's not a lot of money, but for his age and whatever, it is quite a lot of money. And we don't expect him to be a starter every week. However, from what I've seen of him so far, mate, I'm impressed. I think again he's given 10 out of 10 effort in every game he's played so far. He wins fouls really well. He seems quite. The ball seems to kind of glue to his feet almost so far from what I've seen. He scored a 30-yard screamer against Tranmere in the cup.
Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's always a nice thing to see. But yeah, I don't really have any complaints. I think he's, even if he doesn't end up starting many games for us, having him in, as depth will be vital. And he's played under Steve Cooper as well at Swansea, actually, for a year, I think it was.
Oh, so, I forgot about that.
Yeah. So,
what about Edouard?
I was going to say, Edouard. I'm excited for it. I think, obviously we have Jamie Vardy at the club, who's now kind of on his last legs, if you like. He can still score goals, of course, but Edouard was a player we were linked with a couple of years ago, just before we got relegated. I think it was around the time you signed him, and we saw him scoring goals at Celtic. I know he hasn't scored that many for you, but there's definitely a goal scorer in there somewhere. So if Cooper can get it out of him, then fair play. If any manager can get it out of him, then fair play. I think we needed somebody so we didn't have to rely on 37-year-old Jamie Vardy every week, and it's a good job that we brought someone in, because it didn't look like we were going to bring any striker in, and then we ended up getting this on loan when you got Nketiah. So yeah, I'm happy with it. Leicester fans seem happy with it. So
do you reckon he's going to be a starter with Vardy still at the football club? How would that work? Because Vardy has started games. He started the Villa game. I think the Tottenham game he started as well, right? Yeah, he did start the Tottenham game. So how would Odsonne-Edouard fit in?
I think Odsonne-Edouard starts for Leicester City when he can. Yeah, when after, obviously not this weekend because he can't play. But the reason Vardy started every game is because we let Tom Cannon go. Steve Cooper isn't a fan of Cannon. He's gone on loan to Stoke. Patson Daka is injured for a couple months, so he's out. So Vardy is actually our only out-and-out number 9 at the club other than Edouard. I honestly think Edouard does start. I think Vardy will be kept as an impact sub. If I'm honest with you, I think he'll be there. You know, we know what he's like. We all know what Jamie Vardy's like. He's a I don't know if you could swear on here, but he's an a shit house, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. He loves that. I remember one time when he scored against us, he started doing the Eagle celebration. Yeah, that Jamie Vardy for you. But respect to him, he's still going at it. Even with Tottenham fans, he still rattled them on the first game of the season, saying 1 Premier League trophy from you, 0 for you. So he's still going at it. But yeah, I guess with Vardy, he's reaching a point now where he might be better off coming off the bench with his energy rather than starting games, because I mean, there's only so much they can do.
Oh mate, he's a freak of nature. Honestly, he's
not normal.
He still downs his Red. Yeah, he still downs his Red Bulls. I think he has an egg and cheese omelette or an egg and ham omelette and a Red Bull before every game. And then at half time he'll have a Red Bull. And then he's got all the cryotherapy stuff at his house, and he goes in these oxygen tanks and all of this stuff. So that's how he kind of tries to keep his body fresh. But of course, he's not as quick as he was, 5 years ago. Of course, he can't play. He struggles for 90 minutes. He struggles probably around minute 60. So I think that's why that he will be the impact from now on. And as I said, because he is a shithouse, he'll be reliant to come off the bench, put a goal in the back of the net, and piss off some fans. Basically, that'll be his job. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he's very good at that, especially the latter part about pissing off some fans. But when we're looking at Palace, what's your perspective on Palace? Of course, you lot were in the Championship, so I guess maybe you might have watched some Premier League football last year. But Oliver Glasner's come to the football club. He had a very good end towards the end of last season. We've signed a few players, of course. Ayew and Edouard. I do have to mention, I think if Edouard is starting, it's going to be good that they've already got the connection from Palace. Absolutely, maybe Ayew could be starting a few games. We'll see what happens, but I think he started the game against Villa. But what's your thoughts on Palace as a Leicester fan?
I won't lie, mate. When you got Glasner, I think as many fans did, I thought, who's that? Who's this guy? Many fans did, obviously. But, mate, I was impressed. I kept up with the Premier League last season. I watched the Leicester games, but I would have rather watch Palace than bloody Plymouth or something. You know what I mean? So I kept up with the Premier League and made an impressive start under Glasner. Eze and Elise, Mateta. But mate, honestly, absolutely. See the Man United game as well. I loved that. Was class. Yeah. So yeah, I'm impressed with you guys. I thought, I didn't know what to make when I saw Elise leaving and then Anderson leaving and then Gay. He obviously was in that transfer saga all summer with Newcastle. It's massive that you've kept hold of him. I love Gay. I enjoyed I'm not an England fan, but I enjoyed watching him for England. So he's massive. So yeah, I think you'll have a good season again. I have seen some Palace fans online saying that you'll get Europe and get maybe even top 6. I'd probably disagree with that. I don't think you'll get to that level yet. I think there's definitely, though, room for that, for sure. Maybe next season or something. But yeah, I see you maybe 9th, 8th, 9th, 10th, something like that this season. And yeah, again, it's just relentless, the Premier League, when you compare it to the Championship, because you get promoted and it's like Fulham and Palace are meant to be the easy games out of our first 5.
Yeah, there's no more. There's no more easy games. I'll tell you that in the Premier League, there's no more easy games. Back in the day, maybe you might have that easy game or so, but even Fulham, they've got some, good players. Palace is the same as well, but yeah, I think that is why you've seen a lot of clubs that do get promoted go straight back down, because the competition now is just widening in terms of teams that's getting promoted, and some teams that are getting promoted, they're just happy with getting promoted and going back down.
That won't be Leicester, mate. They won't be happy with that. Yeah, we won't be happy with that. Because it's sad, by the way. Can I just say, it's sad. See, no offense to you guys, but it's so sad seeing Fulham, Palace, Brentford. They've all overtaken Leicester. Leicester were the best of the rest for so many years, and now 3 seasons, and we're one of the worst in the league. And it's just
where did it go wrong?
It went wrong. PSR.
How do you go from winning the league to getting relegated?
Well, we had a couple of years of mid-table.
Yeah, you did, to be fair. Champions League fight as well. But it's just interesting how that's happened.
So it happened because we pushed on for 4th place again. 2019-20, 2020-21. We pushed for 4th. We budgeted for 4th. That's the main thing. We budgeted to finish 4th, and we finished 5th, and then 8th. And when that 8th finish happened, we couldn't spend any more money. Brendan Rodgers gave up on the job, right? That little, honestly, man, I hate
You don't rate him? Is it just you or just Leicester fans in general?
He's a good manager, but he gave up on us. He gave up on us. That's what happened. So we couldn't sign anyone in 2022. And he gave up because he threw the players under a bus after an FA Cup game against Forest. He said, this team ain't good enough. I need new players. And then we couldn't bring any players in because of PSR. And then the squad stopped playing for him. Right?
I remember.
Well.
It was toxic.
And we didn't sack him until March. And then we brought in Dean Smith to try and keep us up. And we went down. And then, that's what happened. It was a fall from grace, mate. Probably.
Yeah. In terms of players,
is mad.
Yeah. Yeah, I look, you've had some great players as well over the years. So it's crazy how Leicester have fallen off that much from winning the league to compete in top 4 to all of a sudden getting relegated. But it just shows how ruthless the Premier League could be. But in terms of some of the players that you signed this season and just in general, who should Palace fans be looking out for? Who should we be trying to stop in order to win this game?
There's two. Facundo Buonanotte from Brighton. What a player. Honestly, what a player. He's going to be top class.
He's come off the bench, though. He hasn't really started, has he?
He started the first two. He started the first two until Cooper decided to play Ndidi as a 10. But mate, honestly, I think he's going to be top class. And we got him on a loan. No option to buy. He just signed a 4-year deal at Brighton. They just loaned him to us. And he's looked like our best player already this season. So that's one to watch. He's been playing in the number 10, but of course he can play coming from out wide. And then Abdul Fattah, mate. Do you know this guy? Do you know Abdul Fattah? Yeah, you know.
He plays on the right hand side.
Mate, he's just unreal. We got him on loan last season. Say that again.
He's got flair. Yeah, he's like, pace, flair, etc. I think he'll remain in the Premier League if you lot were to go down. I think.
100%. Yeah, 100%. That was a loan with obligation from Sporting, and the obligation fee was 13 million. 13. Honestly, mate, bargain. I honestly, if let's say we stay up this year, I reckon there'll still be clubs coming in for him for 30, 40 million quid, mate. He's that good. So if he can do it consistently, of course. So we'll see.
What about weaknesses then? For Leicester, what's the main weakness that Palace should be target? I mean, I watched the game, as I said, against Villa. The free kick, I think that was good. Play from Villa. You lot were kind of caught off guard, but the second goal was a header. What would you say? Is it defense? Is it a midfield?
I mean, our defense, it's definitely weak. Our best part of our team is probably offensively when we have our best players on the pitch. There are weaknesses in the defense. Wout Faes is he's a liability. He's a bit of a maverick. He can be caught out. He likes to drive the ball into midfield. Sometimes that's when he can be exposed. Set pieces, we've had problems over the last few years with set pieces, but I think this season we've been quite good so far. The Villa one was just really well worked. I don't put much blame on our players for that. It was just a really well worked one. I'd say Wilfred Ndidi is a weakness, even if he plays in the 10 or a 6. If he's in the 6, press wherever he is. If you press him, he'll probably lose the ball. So that's probably one of the biggest weaknesses. If he starts, it might be a wink skip midfield that could happen. But if Ndidi is there, he's probably, for me, the weakness in midfield for sure. So there's a couple of weaknesses, mate. There's no glaringly obvious ones that we're dying to get out of the team. But Faes and Ndidi probably for me.
Yeah. There's another defender just in terms of strengths. I mean, he's not just weaknesses. Is it Okoli? Am I right in saying that? Yeah, he looks like a good defender, no? I don't know, from the Villa game that I watched anyways. He looked
so that was his first start. He came in from Atalanta, and he had a really bad pre-season. He made loads of mistakes. So he didn't start the season probably because of that. They went with Vestergaard and Faes, who were our championship centre-backs.
I don't know if that's good enough.
Villa. Yeah, he made the change against Villa, and he looked good, mate. He looks quite pacey compared to our other defenders. strong on the ball. He just got his Italian call up as well. He was with the squad this week. So yeah, I think he'll start for sure. But I'd say he's the more inexperienced out of the two, him and Fast. But I think he probably, in the future will be the better of the two. So yeah, too early to say, too early for any type of judgment on him. But he looks good. He looks all right.
Yeah. Yeah, let's go to score predictions then. Of course, we gave our predictions on your channel, but over here, any change of mind in the last half an hour or so? I'm going to stick with my 3-0 win at home. I'm expecting us to, try have that clean sheet on board, and also in attack, hopefully create more chances and score some goals. We saw some positive play against Chelsea. We should be having more players available in this game. We've had that break for bit of a rest because if quite a few of our players came late to preseason, some of them came a week before. Well, Eze, Gehi, Mateta, Munoz, like a lot of our players came back late. So this week break is going to come good for us, I think. But for you, how do you see it going?
Yeah, I'm going to stick with mine, mate. Nothing's changed in the last 20 minutes. I'm going to say 1-1, and that's my heart. That's my heart. My head would maybe say a 2-1 or something like that, but to you, not to us. But yeah, I'll go with my heart, mate. 1-1. I think it'll be a really close game, like all our games have been. I think you'll score first for sure. That'll probably definitely happen in the first half or something, and then hopefully we nick one back towards the end and get a point. So yeah, 1-1.
1-1. Let us know your score predictions in the comment section down below. Make sure to subscribe if you haven't already done so, and most importantly, check out Blue Tinted Glasses for more Leicester content. That's it from us, and until next time, up the Palace.